I'm still reading chat. Give me a second here. What variable determines spike shoe damage? It's your air time. I forget what the variable's called. Spike shoe damage. It's one of the idle counters, I'm pretty sure. Let me look at that real quick before we move on to more jank. Player, I think it's part of movable. I think it might be idle counter. Idle counter is a bit of a weird one, but I think it's your idle counter that triggers it. We can find that out real quick. And I don't remember how many frames you have to fall for spike shoe damage to take place. Let's just spawn a test dummy in a pit. Something that can't really do anything like a mummy. No, it's not idle counter. Let's see, which of these is it? Stand, it might be stand counter. I think it's stand counter. So around 70. Yeah, it's stand counter. I think it has to be 60. Let's see. We can test that. I'm gonna hit it on the next frame. So if I set it to 59, that didn't kill it. But I bet if I set it to 60, my mummy might be low in health. I need to spawn a fresh one. Sorry, I'm struggling to delete the correct entity. Can you just bear with me for a second? Alright, so I think if I set that to 60 on this frame, this is going to kill the mummy. It didn't. Huh. Now, does that mean it has to be greater than 60, or is it not stand counter? There's another timer. There could be another jump timer. I'll set it up here. No, it's definitely that. I think it probably has to be greater than 60. I think 61 or more is probably what does it. I can verify that, I think, by teleporting into the mummy while I'm falling. Because, yeah, this doesn't reset my fall timer. Okay, one more test with that, and then I'll get back to looking at chat. Alright, so I'm going to set it to 61, and then I'm going to teleport into the mummy, so I immediately stomp it. Yeah, it's about 60. I think it has to be greater than 60 to trigger it. I could figure out the exact frame for that, but the gist of it is 1 second of stand counter. And stand counter is a poorly named variable that I think actually measures how long you've been in a specific state. State meaning this up here. I think it's how long you've been in a specific state like this. Yeah, it actually reset when I whipped, which I think this is known. If you whip when you're like bouncing on something, it will do that. I think that's been known. At least I knew about that, though I forget it sometimes anyways. But for instance, if you're bouncing on a mummy like this, let me give the mummy a ton of health so it doesn't die to me bouncing on it. But you can see here, if I bounce a couple times and then press whip to reset my stand counter, it still won't die. And I can just keep resetting that so I never get the spike shoes killed by just whip spamming. Because this is a badly programmed video game with all sorts of state machine jank in it. So if you've ever wondered about that, don't whip. Just don't whip while you're bouncing on something. It will reset your stand counter, and that will affect your infinite fall damage. I think it's the same thing with like a slow fall with a cape. So if I have a cape like this, I spawn a funny mummy in the pit, then I just spam whip, the mummy just will not die to that. So that's something to watch out for, I suppose. If anyone who didn't know that, don't spam whip. It will reset your stand counter, because this stand counter is actually just how long you've been in your latest state. And that will break your fall damage, because the only thing the game is checking for Spike Shoe's instant kill is whether or not your stand counter is greater than 60. Or something thereabouts, or greater than 61. I'm not entirely sure. I think the code is probably greater than 60, but I don't know what order the game like checks and increments things in. It would be possible but difficult to test and probably not worth the time. So just don't whip. That's the moral of the story here. Or throw bombs, or don't do anything that would change your state. Like, don't go into the attacking state.